Here's a live wrestling strategy that will help you take your wrestling to a new level. Number one, only wrestle in practice like you would in the state finals or the national finals. And you say, well, I've never been to the national finals. Well, just imagine how you would wrestle or want to wrestle. And then now you're bringing a higher level of focus. It's no different than if you were, let's say you're shooting free throws in basketball, but then your coach says, until you make 10 in a row, you can't leave, and I will be here till midnight if I have to. Well, now you're going to bring a different level of focus to the free throw line. We do this in studying too. We study without putting full effort and focus into it. You thought you studied last night, but if your teacher this morning says, we're going to have a pop quiz, and you start to panic, and then she says, but I'm going to give you 20 minutes to study your notes from yesterday. Now that 20 minutes of studying probably is way better than the 2 hours you did last night. In wrestling, we do the same thing. We're not putting our full effort into it. The level of focus is much more important than working hard. We like to work hard, just because you're hot, tired, and sweaty at the end of the day doesn't mean you got better at wrestling. So by only wrestling and committing and evaluating yourself on the way home, you say, did I wrestle today like it was the national finals? And you should ask yourself that every single day. Now, here's the second tip. Maybe 5% of the time, let's say once every other week, you want to spend the entire practice, or at least a big part of it during live wrestling, only wrestling on defense. Because in wrestling, you're on offense and defense at the same time. Well, in MMA, you're on offense and defense at the same time, but if you take a shin bone to the neck, you can die. So you should protect your legs like an MMA fighter protects their neck. But the problem is this, when people get your legs, half the time you score. So you get away with it. So you don't protect your legs with the effort and urgency that you can, and that's keeping you from being great and winning the close matches. Lastly, let's say once every other week, you should wrestle wide open. One of our goals in our academy, and we preach this at our summer camps too, which just sold out again, by the way. Over 700 athletes from far away as Japan flew into our camps here in St. Louis. We have our own privately owned 17,000 square foot training center. You can check that out on YouTube if you want. But we preach this at all of our training programs, and that is wrestling smart. We want to have the best dance in America and be the smartest wrestlers in America and the masters at winning matches. All right? And becoming a master at winning is different than becoming a great wrestler. Okay? So now, this goes opposite of our philosophy of being the smartest wrestlers in America. So once every other week, let's say, you're not going to wrestle smart. You're just going to throw yourself at the legs. You're even going to wrestle stupid. You're going to wrestle, you're just going to try to score 100 takedowns in a practice. Because in wrestling, we're always doing this. We're always a little too aggressive, not aggressive enough. Too psyched up for the match, not psyched up enough. And a lot of us in wrestling, even though I've wrestled 6, 7, 8 years, you have the experience and the technique, but you're not winning. You have to ask yourself, why am I not winning? Right? You wrestle easy in live wrestling, and then you try to wrestle like a beast. And then 3 or 4 days, you probably put low effort in. And then one day, maybe you get beat in a dual meet, and then you have a practice of your life. And then you go back down to here again, right? Or you wrestle wide open, and you're reaching, you're exhausted after the match, but you gave up your legs 6 times. Sure, you got a couple of takedowns, but you just wrestle stupid. And then another time you wrestle scared and defensive. And you're playing this game also. Our goal is to do this, or to walk a straight path. But it's not normal to always be on the path. It's called a course correct. But as long as your wrestling is doing that, you're going to find that you're going to be more successful. So there's 3 tactics to taking your wrestling to a new level, and we wish you great success. You should binge watch some of these videos. I have over 650 of these on YouTube. If you had any interest, just go to playlist. All right, the playlist on choke proofing your wrestling, confidence for wrestling, overcoming nerves, they're phenomenal. Also, weight loss. I probably am an expert at cutting weight. Back in my day, I was a monster weight cutter, just had to do it. I have a twin brother who's a few pounds bigger than me, back then anyway, and I just had to cut a lot of weight. So, and I learned from a few pros too. So, there's some good advice there. Go to playlist, but also you should binge watch a lot of our videos and our content here on our Instagram page. I think there's a lot of great stuff out there. So, and specifically on our program. So anyway, good luck to everybody, and we wish you great success.